What up, gang? Carolina Jackpot Time coming at you on Thursday morning. I hope everybody's doing good today. Well, it rained something fierce here all night long. And I got up at 3, headed out about 3:30, and there's standing water, flooding water everywhere. I actually went through one huge puddle of water on the road in kind of a low-lying area near a creek I probably shouldn't have went through, and I wouldn't have went through it if I'd known it was there, but I didn't float away, so thank God for that. Man, I'm telling you what, as a South Carolina Gamecock fan, and those of you who are South Carolina Gamecock fans, I think you can agree, but if you've been a fan for any amount of time, you've come to the realization at some point that we can't have nice things. We just can't. And by nice things, I'm talking having a little bit of consistency across the athletic department, across the athletic teams, in terms of success on the field, on the court, on the diamond, whatever. 2023, football team was the shits. Basketball team was pretty damn good. Made it to the NCAA tournament, got bounced in the first round. They fell apart come tournament time, but regular season was pretty damn good. It was exciting. I went to 4 games last year. I was so excited about that team. This year, we flipped the script. Football team does pretty good. Goes 9-3, ends up 9-4. All right, kind of disappointing performance in the bowl game, but people say bowl games don't matter, so we'll see. We'll just forget about that one. This basketball team, my God, last night loses to Mississippi State, or Ole Miss, excuse me. I can't remember what the final score was now. They lost by 3 damn points. And that game, first of all, they have not won an SEC game all year. They're 0-11. How are you 0-11? And it's not like they're trying to be that bad. And this team's like, they've played like 8 games that have been within 5 points or something insane like that. Against some really good teams too. Last night, no exception. Ole Miss, another ranked team. Their games seem to follow the same script, especially the ones at home. They come out, they fall behind early, sometimes by double digits. They're trailing at halftime, usually by double digits. Sometimes they've made a little bit of a push in the first half, sometimes not. Second half, they slowly chip away at their deficit and oftentimes overtake that deficit and take the lead, as we saw last night, and then they ultimately shit the bed at the end. These games, I've seen this story play out so many times this year, it is absolutely maddening to me. And then, to crown it off, you had Ole Miss hits a couple foul shots. You got the ball. You're pushing. You're inside 15 seconds. You're down by 3 points. You got to have a 3-pointer to tie to go to overtime. So what do? They push the damn ball inside under 10 seconds left and end up missing a shot, then getting a rebound, and then turning the damn ball over, which has been their mantra all year. They've had several games where they set record numbers as far as turnovers. Last night, until late in the game, they had single-digit turnovers, which is pretty good. Of course, on cue, they turned the ball over there, though. Game over. My thing is, when you're down by 3, why are you trying to get 2? What's the thought process there? Was the thought process there, well, we're going to try to draw a foul inside, maybe hit this bucket and seal and tie it with a free throw? I mean, they're not going to be trying to foul you when they're up by 3, are they? I mean, that don't make any sense. Plus, on top of that, if that was to be the scenario that was to happen, y'all ain't exactly been worth a shit at free throws. They were a little better last night, but too many kids going up there and missing both foul shots, which is absolutely inexcusable. If you should, I don't know what the national average is on free throws, but I would think you should be hitting at least 70% of your free throws, even if you're a forward or even a center. If you're up there, you should be hitting 70% of your foul shots. The really good ones are over 80% foul shooting. These kids aren't anywhere near that. It's absolutely terrible. So they lose again. That's on coaching. Why did you set a play up like that? That doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe somebody could explain that to me. And I know there aren't a lot of huge college basketball fans on this channel. Here's my thing. I get sick. Sometimes I hear this from a lot of the other college football YouTube channels. And no, I'm not singling anybody out. I hear it from a lot of them. I don't care about anything but football. I don't this, I don't that. Well, then no. I mean, if you don't care anything about football, then you are a Tennessee football fan, and that's what it is. Or you're a Georgia football fan, or a Clemson football fan, and you don't care anything. How can you? I don't understand how you can be dyed in the wool a fan of a certain team, a certain school, a certain brand, and not care, and be a dude, be a red-blooded American guy. Guys like sports, and not give a shit about basketball or even baseball. That doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, that's your choice. There's some more of that damn water. That's your choice if that's, but it just know that it doesn't make sense. It's dumb. I mean, guys like sports, so you should be interested in all of your team's sports, not just football. That's the way I see it. I'm not telling anybody how to fan, but I don't understand it. I mean, back in the day when I'm coming up, you were fans of everything. Right? It doesn't mean I'm going to go out there and I'm scrolling through Twitter to try to find the South Carolina men's golf team's score from their match this weekend. Okay, I'm not that. But I mean, I still support they win a damn golf national championship. I'm like, all right, guys, good damn job. You know, it's not like I don't give a fuck about golf. They get dead. Come on, man. Be better than that. But being a Gamecock fan it's tough. It's hard work. It's almost like a second job, really. I mean, it's not. There's a lot of heartache involved. A lot of times, a lot of different things. And not to say that we're out of the woods by any stretch of the imagination as far as football goes. And the more and more the more and more I look at 2025 coming up, got a lot of new pieces on that defense. And I was looking at a projected depth chart for spring ball, which spring ball does matter in terms of learning, in terms of repetition, in terms of installing new things, in terms of your new players coming in and really getting their first, real taste of practice in terms of a college football type environment, their first game type environment with the spring game. So it's important in that regard. Your older players, not so much. We've seen countless older players in the past who are a little bit banged up, a little beat up, coming off the previous season, not really participate that much in the spring drills, spring game, and then come out the next season and not really miss a beat, not really be rusty. We've seen that happen. It was Rocket Sanders last year for the Gamecocks. Had a really good year running the ball, and he didn't participate in spring because he was still recovering from that surgery. And he had a good year. I'm not saying, and he didn't have a great year. He didn't have a great year. He had a good year. He had rushed for about 800 yards. That's a good year from running back. It's not a great year. Now, his quarterback took a lot of the rush yards too, though. And I'm not saying losing him is not going to hurt, but that production can be replaced with some of the guys they've got there already, and the transfer running back that they brought in from Utah State. I think the guy will be really good. But I went off the rails there talking about him for just a minute. But there are a lot of new pieces on that defense, a lot of unknowns. The list of linebackers, you got 2 transfers and 2 young guys. I'm kind of worried there. Secondary, I'm not so worried about. I think you're going to be good at the cornerback position in terms of safety. You got that guy coming over from NC State. I think he's going to be a pretty good player for him. Brandon Cisse, I think is his name. I think he'll be pretty solid. Defensive tackles, that's another one. Defensive ends, I think you're in really good shape there. Despite the loss of Kyle Kennard, you returning Brian Thomas Jr. To play alongside Dylan Stewart. But in the middle, I don't know, guys. We're going to see. That defense could regress. I mean, you could potentially, look at points scored average on. What you pull out there on defense next season, and it be. I could see them giving up another 7 points a game next season. But on the flip side, offensively, I think you return a lot on the offensive line. I think it's going to be an even better unit than it was last year, and it was much improved last year, especially the second half of the year. There were several games, not several, there were at least 2 games, when South Carolina did not give up a sack. How long that's been, that's a long time coming. Didn't give up a sack against Texas A&M, who had a very good defensive front too. So that was something that you can hang your hat on that a little bit. Receiver-wise, I think the receiver room is going to be a lot better, older, a little more mature. Running back room, like I said, I think the production will be as good, if not better, and quarterback, I think, will be definitely as good, if not better. It'll be better. It'll be better. I think he's going to cut down on his interceptions and his turnovers. I don't necessarily know that he'll rush for more yards than he did last year, but I think he'll cut down on the mistakes, and that's going to make a huge difference. So you could potentially score 7 more points on average on the offensive side of the ball to offset what you're going to lose on defense. You're going to have to. Because anybody that thinks this defense is going to be as good as that and it's not really going to miss a lick is just delusional talk. So there's always cause for worry. I want to go over, and I don't have this list in front of me. Obviously, I don't have time to do it right now as I'm heading to work and I'm training somebody. I trained somebody last week, and I'm training a new guy this week that we brought on board. And it's okay. It's at least helpful. They're able to help you get done a little bit quicker. As well, and that's not the point in training somebody. It's not to do your work for you. You're supposed to be imparting knowledge on them, teaching them the ropes, as it were, and that's what I'm doing. But don't think that I don't take advantage of that too as a little bit of help as well, because I definitely do. I definitely could use a helper. I'd take a free volunteer helper too if anybody's interested in applying. I'm just kidding. So it's looking like, hopefully, fingers crossed, that Carolina Jackpot might be running a route a little bit closer to home for much longer. So that's very welcome to me. I like this route that I'm on, but it's a long drive. But on the flip side of that, I've built the route up. I've built the sales up, and I've really just now started to get some decent relationships forged with decision makers in my major accounts. And no, I don't mean improper relationships. I mean business relationships. They know who I am. They know what I'm about. They know I'm going to do them a good job, and they'll give me stuff like extra display space in their store. So I kind of hate to give that up and have to start over. But I'm a very I have a very affable and likable personality. I'm not always yelling and screaming and acting a fool. That's during football games and during basketball games. Last night, on our live show, I was a little bit perturbed right at the beginning of the show as we watched into that basketball game, and I can sit there, look at my podcast partner Rob Sanders, who's acting kind of smug. And it's the best way to put that, and he knows it, and that's fine, because I would be the same way. As his team has won 20 games already. They knocked off Duke over the weekend, which, that's fine. I mean, but I'll go on ahead and say it, since he says it every time South Carolina gets a big win over a team that's ranked much higher than them. Fluke. It's fluke. It was a fluke. And there are no off nights in SEC basketball. You may, unless you're playing LSU or South Carolina, you're not going to go out there. And even with South Carolina, as I said, the record is horrible. It's very bad. And there are obviously lots of holes on that team that's causing all this. What's causing all this? Never mind. I'm to start a Ric Flair promo there. There are issues that are causing the 0-11 conference start, but they've still been competitive in the lion's share of their games against some really good competition, against some highly ranked competition. Clemson, on the other hand, plays in the ACC, where they have like two or three good teams, and the rest of them are absolute steaming piles. It's weird to say that too. Very weird to say that. The ACC has long been a bastion of college basketball excellence, but it's been a combination of getting watered down, and with some of the additions to some of these teams that just aren't very good at basketball, and then I don't know that it drags everybody else down, but then you're losing some of these legendary coaches. You've lost, Roy Williams. You lost Jim Boeheim in the past few years. And those programs have just taken a nosedive. Now, Duke, despite the fluke loss to Clemson, with their coach, John Shire, has actually, it seems like they've actually kind of elevated their game a little bit than they were with Coach K, or at least it hasn't skipped a beat. And K's teams weren't consistently ranked that high throughout the course of the season, late into his career. So maybe they've upgraded a little bit. Most of these teams who've lost these better coaches have downgraded, and I don't know if that conference is going to recover or not. I mean, some of the teams that have been somewhat decent in the past are not. NC State, Florida State, Wake Forest. None of these teams are even good anymore. It's not good. Who else was I going to say? There's somebody else there too that had lost a coach that had been around for a while. Virginia. Yeah, Virginia's terrible this year. Didn't Virginia make the Final Four or win the Natty or something? Did they win the Natty a few years ago or play for the Natty? I know they played for it, but they're terrible, terrible. So, Clemson's got kind of an inflated record against some shit competition. Kind of like football, same old shit. But anyway, this video's gone on about 20 minutes about pretty much absolutely nothing. I just wanted to jump on here and let everybody know that I'm still with the living. Have not been making the videos the way I normally have. Of course, during the season, and it always slows down in the off season. I mean, it's just not as much content. It's not as much to talk about, and some of the stories that you have to find to come up with to talk about are, quite frankly, sometimes things that I'm just not all that damn interested in. There was an article written the other day. It was a long article with each SEC teams and their predicted losses and giving them a predicted record. And it's way too early. Yeah, I'm thinking about going live. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow night. And kind of going through that list and giving my 2 cents on that list, because I thought some of the picks, it was by our buddy, it was by one of our buddies over at 24/7 Sports. I don't want everybody looking it up, but you probably already have. But some of those picks that he have there are just absolutely stupid. Some of them they make a little bit of sense, but some of them are kind of dumb. I got one spoiler alert on it. He's predicting Auburn to go 9-3. I mean, come on. Is that possible? Yeah, it's possible. I mean, they had a losing record last year. South Carolina had a losing record in 2023. They turned it around and went 9-3 in 2024. So anything is possible. I mean, is it likely? No. They've done nothing but disappoint since they cut Gus Malzahn loose. Since they got loose of the goose, they've been disappointing as hell. So I think that's just a very bold prediction to make. I don't really know what you're basing it on. They brought in a couple of pieces from the portal and said, well, Hugh Freeze can coach them up. Oh, Hugh Freeze ain't been able to coach up what he needs to be coaching up for the past 2 years. So why do you think he's going to finally do it this year? I don't know. We'll have to see on that front. Anyway, I am going to go over that list at some point very soon here over on the channel. I appreciate you guys watching. Hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. For the first time in a long time, I've been looking at my analytics, and the subscriber numbers actually took a dip. Like, I've lost like 8 subscribers. Over the past 2 weeks? And that's not people getting mad at you and unsubscribing. A lot of that is, a lot of it's probably troll accounts, honestly, that just get deleted for whatever reason, and henceforth, you lose a subscriber from that. But you should be gaining subscribers to offset that number where you don't really see it and it doesn't affect you. And that hadn't been the case of late. So, at any rate, I will see you guys later on. I appreciate you. Peace. And I'm out of here. Go Gamecocks. Woo! I said, woo!